The Saturn just got another fan translation for an exclusive Japanese game, and it's one that has been asked by fans for a long time. After Link Oliver's Story and Grandia earlier this year, now comes Sakura TAISEN, or if you want to go by the official Western title, Sakura Wars. Even though the original game never left Japan, aside from some obscure Russian and Chinese PC ports, this is a name that should sound familiar to Saturn fans. The series is a fan favorite among gamers and is intrinsically linked to the last Sega consoles, having been co-developed by Sega itself. The first two games were Saturn exclusive, while 3 and 4 first came out on the Dreamcast, and although remakes and re-releases would eventually be made for other consoles, it wasn't until Sakura Wars 5, the first and only game to come out in the West while we await the localization of this year's Project Sakura Wars, that the game was developed specifically for non-Sega consoles. Gamers have been eager to try the first game out for a long time, relying on fan-made efforts like walkthroughs and translation guides that dedicated fans read along while playing in Japanese, and a full English subtitled playthrough on YouTube for those who just want to watch events fold out. So far though, there wasn't an easy and convenient way to actually play the game, like a translation patch. Fortunately, NoahSteam and cj-iwakura came to the rescue. These are no strangers to the fan translation scene, and Steam is the programmer behind the translation of another Sega cult hit, Dragon Force 2, while Iwakura has been involved in many translations for a variety of systems, and was already working on translating that to Russian PC port of Sakura TAISEN, hence why they decided to join forces. The news first broke out in April, when they both tweeted about the progress, with all of the actual translation being already done at the time. This got fans excited, but it still would be some time until we could try it out for ourselves. Over the next months, and Steam would share further updates, including improvements to the user interface and dealing with unexpected bugs that resulted from hacking the translated text into the game. Things became even more exciting by the end of August, when he announced the imminent release of a test version. Initially a private affair while people had to personally request a copy of the translation, and then, due to the overwhelming interest from the community, an open event for anyone to try. But before all of us could get our dirty paws on it, some unexpected problems arose, and then Steam had to go back to work on fixing some issues. In the end, this was actually for the best, since this extra time allowed TrekkiesUnite, the author behind the Grandia translation, to lend a hand and translate the movies which weren't even originally part of the plan. So all in all, this is a magnificent work, and a joint effort by many dedicated fans, and is on par with a professionally translated game, which just goes to show the amazing talent and dedication of the Saturn community. I myself have been wanting to play this game for a long time, and now that I have, I got to say I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it was your run-of-the-mill JRPG, but turns out it shares more in common with visual novels, with plenty of dialogue to read and timed decisions that impact the outcome of the story. The combat scenes are indeed similar to other strategy RPGs, like Sega's Shining Force, although from what I've played they seem somewhat simplistic and not that difficult. Maybe they become increasingly complicated as you progress, or maybe not. Considering the heavy focus on story, the combat could be simple and easy on purpose, to just provide a diversion from the story and dialogue without getting in the way. And the presentation is just absolutely top-notch. Aside from the beautiful 2D art, both for the backgrounds and characters of the story segments, as well as the isometric battlefields of the combat sequences, there are a lot of full-motion video clips, both in the traditionally animated style as well as fully 3D CGI, and many of the characters' lines are fully voiced.
他に誰がいるの？バカずらしてないでこっちにいらっしゃい。
The first hour of play looks more like an interactive multimedia experience than a standard game from the 90s. All of this is made even better thanks to the amazing translation efforts. The text looks clean and polished, the choices for font type and size integrate well with the text boxes, and they even managed to make the cramped combat menu look good and easy to read. If you didn't know you were playing a fan translation, no one would fault you for thinking it was a commercial release. And that is, I think, the greatest compliment I can make. So, having said all this, what do you actually need to get going? First things first, you'll need ripped images of the game's discs, which you can do yourself with an original copy of the game and a CD drive, or get through less legitimate means. Second, you'll have to get the actual translation patch. You can find a link to it in the description for this video. Once you unzip the patch, you'll be left with several files, but don't worry because we'll cover all of them in a second. First of all, you'll want to make a new rip of the game, even if you've already done so. The recommended software is ISO Buster, which you can get if you follow the link below. Start by selecting your disk drive and then right click on the disk icon, select Extract CD Content and then Extract User Data. The patch instructions warn you of receiving an error which I didn't get, maybe because I was re-ripping a disk image I already had on my PC. But if it happens to you, just select Replace with all zeros and click the select button. If it all went okay, you should find two files in the directory you chose, named Track1 ISO and Track2 WAV. Now, to apply the patch, it's actually pretty simple. Just go back to where you've unzipped the patch files and you should see a folder named Delta Patcher. Go inside and open up the Delta Patcher program. It's a very simple software, just select the original CD file, which in this case is the track1.iso that we've just extracted, and then select the patch file, which is one of the two .xdelta files in the patch directory, one for each disk of Sakura Wars. Assuming you're patching disk 1 first, just select sw_eng_disk1_v1 and press apply patch. Unless something went catastrophically wrong, you should see a message saying the patch was applied successfully. All that's left is putting the corresponding Q file that came with the patch inside the same folder as the patched image and you're good to go, either loading that Q file with an emulator or burning it onto a CDR. So go and enjoy this magnificent game in English for the first time. I want to take this opportunity to give a huge thank you to NoahSteam, cj-iwakura, TrekkiesUnite and everyone else who has contributed in some capacity to this project. You guys and girls are what make the Saturn community amazing. And 25 years later, Sega's greatest console has never been more alive. The Saturn Junkyard salutes you. As always, stay tuned to the channel for more Saturn related content. See you next time.